Welcome everyone to Warden Law. Welcome back to Warden Law. If you were with us for event 1 last week for the Rotax and the Honda Cadets, thank you very much for your support. We're back for the IAMEs and for KZ2. Gabriel still with me, who... Mate, what's going on with the gear? You got Caden's suit. I think you saw you with Jacob's helmet earlier on. Have you not got your own gear?
I do. I just couldn't find my suit this morning, so I put Caden's on, and I found mine, so I'll put that one on tomorrow.
Pace was looking good earlier, mate. I think was it P3 and FP3. It's a solid start.
Yeah, P3 and then P3 again. Just trying to find a bit of time. But yeah, I think just getting a bit held up sometimes in traffic. So yeah.
What progress have you had from O-Plate? Obviously, that was your first big meeting back, but now we're into the cut and thrust of the championship. What's the aim?
Yeah, at the moment I'm only just doing the first round, but we'll see how it goes and see what I can do. But the O-Plate, yeah, was good until the final. Just too many changes on the kart. They just didn't go well.
And you got the support of your fellow competitors this weekend. How good is it back to be in proper championship action?
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, thanks for your time, Gabriel. If Freddie Lloyd's gonna he's gonna run away from us, but we'll talk about Freddie in a bit. We'll also talk about Louis Williams Mabs. We'll have a chat with Louis. I know I was banging on about this number 22 DAP kart at O-Plate, but look at it, it's beautiful. Oh, and we've got our first paddock pup of the day as well. Louis, come on in. Some positive times today. I think you were solidly up in the top 10 in practice. Enjoying Warden Law so far?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks.
And tell us about this kart that you've got. It's freshly liveried up for this season, and there's a good amount of speed in it relative to where you were last year as well.
Yeah. The DAP is basically like a KR, so yeah. And
you got your dad on the tools again. Is he getting everything right? Is he setting the kart up how you want it?
Well, apart from the last session when the wheel fell off.
Oh, we won't talk about that. The wheel falling off. But IAME Water Swift restricted for you this year. Are you hoping to be in for the whole season?
Hopefully, yeah, if he can afford it.
And I know you're always on the search for sponsors as well. How have you been developing with that across the course of the year?
An extra sponsor, Alloy Stars in Aylesbury, and we've also got AST in Aylesbury, courtesy of Claudio. Hi, Claudio. This is our dog Sprocket. You're the half. You're the commentator. Yeah. Always says this is Sprocket. He's well known everywhere.
This is Sprocket. Sprocket, how are you doing today?
He's a good one.
He's not sure.
He comes everywhere with us in the paddock. So yeah, he's brilliant.
Very good. Well, we'll catch you guys in a bit. Good to chat to the Williams Mabs team there, including Sprocket the dog. I love that. That's a great name for a dog. Elsewhere up at the top end, Rocky Lane Shenton is up at this top end. Quick note on one of the front runners from O-Plate, P6 and P8 today for Rocco in terms of the time sessions. I had a bit of a chat with Rocco. They were playing around with the setup a bit. The conditions today, we'd love to talk about a bit of British weather, especially on an Easter weekend. Quite windy. It's not as warm as it was here last weekend, so I think trying to tune things in is going to be pretty tricky for some of the teams here this weekend, particularly for the KZ2s, which we'll come on to in a bit. It's fairly quiet at the moment up around the top here for Team BMR and for Jamie Green. Just to note on these guys, JGR, the quickest driver in the restricted category is Bodie Batch. So Bodie with the Argenti Academy as well was looking pretty quick. Some new drivers in for JGR this weekend in terms of this championship, and in fact I'll have a little chat now with Win Godschalk. And Win had a very, very good IAME Winter Cup, but racing now here in the British scene. Warden Law, a little bit different to the last place I saw you win when you were bombing around Valencia. What do you think of this track?
It's okay. I think Valencia's better.
Do you prefer the faster, smoother tracks? This is quite technical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit hard.
And racing with Jamie Green racing again this weekend, have they got a kind of a plan for you for this weekend?
Well, no, it's just the same like all races.
Good stuff. And you've got your younger brother, I think I'm right in saying, with you this weekend?
Yeah.
Has he run away from us? Has he disappeared?
I think he did.
But I think he's one of the youngest drivers in the field, isn't he? He's in the restricted category.
He is the youngest.
So do you think he can do some good stuff this weekend, or is it about gaining experience, do you think?
No, I think he can. I think he can get top 5.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for talking to us, Win, all the way from the Caribbean. So we'll see those guys later on in the weekend, looking pretty good. I think Ethan Owen as well down there. Ethan Owen, we should note, in one of the quickest suits. In fact, let's get Ethan in for a little bit of a chat, because we had a brief chat, didn't we, Ethan, in getting the pictures. You are in one quick suit here this weekend, a certain Mr. Will Green's suit from last year.
Yeah, I am.
What's it like racing in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships?
It's good because it's very fun and I'll enjoy it.
And racing as part of a strong team here. Is this your first weekend with them, or have you raced with them for a while?
With them for about 3 months now, but I just haven't done much. I've just been doing like some in Italy and Spain and all that. So like yeah.
And I was asking Win a similar question. You know, this is a very different kind of circuit to the ones that we see in Italy and Spain. How have you been getting ready for this this weekend?
Just doing lots of testing and private tracks here and just like that, and just coming here on open track days and all that. So yeah.
And you're in a very competitive IAME Water Swift category with a lot of experience there. Have you got a target for the weekend?
Like a top 10 or something. Top 10.
Good stuff. Well, we'll wish you the best of luck for that one, Ethan. I say keep an eye on him there in the 127. Freddie Wood's not going to get away. Freddie, come here very, very quickly. One of the impressive stories for me stepping up from the inter-categories into the juniors this year. When we last saw you at Wilton Mill, Freddie, you weren't quite up to speed with the combo of juniors and Wilton Mill. How have preparations gone for Warden Law here this weekend?
I think I prefer Warden Law a bit more, less bumpy, less curbs, bit easier to drive, but I think the racing here will be better. And then I think I've also learned how to drive the junior more now, used to English tracks, because I'd done a lot of Europe when I went to Wilton, so I think it's going to be better here.
Yeah, as I say, it's not a full Euro track in a way, but you've still got some quite fast flowing corners, haven't you?
Yeah, because I'd done Winter Cup, then Cremona, so then I hadn't done a lot in England, and then straight into Wilton wasn't ideal, but we've done some testing here, being quite quick, so hopefully it's going to be good this weekend.
It has got a bit chillier though. It's a bit windy out there. How have track conditions been today?
Or at the start, first 2 sessions, first one was the track wasn't very good. Then the second session, track was quite quick, and then got colder, more windy. Then didn't feel as you didn't have the grip to really push it to full potential really.
Good stuff. Well, we'll keep an eye on you, Fred, across the course of the weekend and see how you get on. I say I've been really impressed with Freddie Wood so far this year. Yeah, O-Plate didn't quite go his way, but I know we talk about it a lot. That step up from the mini category, the mini kart categories from IAME Water Swift, the inter category here in these championships up to juniors. It is such a hard step, because so much is different, and some drivers take it to it quicker than others, and it's not necessarily in the order of a championship rankings from the year before. Freddie's got on top of juniors really, really quickly, particularly in the European scene. So yeah, that is absolutely fantastic to see. Let's move on through. I may have taken you in completely the wrong direction. Not completely the wrong direction, James, because I do want to cut into the Rush Performance tent, because we have some fairly hefty changes for Rush Performance. Of course, still in KZ2, that's no different, but new colours, new chassis for the guys in Rush Performance this year maybe means they're a little bit off the pace in these early stages of the weekend, but we know that they've got the kind of drivers who will be able to push their way back to the front. Is this going to be one of those typical times? No, we have got drivers, we have got karts in. Yes, let's talk KZ2. We've got 4 KZ2s in here at the moment. Ashley Lewis back once again, number 4 seed from last year. Nat Thomas in the number 73. Charlie Turner, your runner-up in the championship from 2024, went into that epic duel with Josh Price at Three Sisters last year, is back. And also a new driver, but not a new driver. Really interesting story in the shape of the number 53 for Nico Piccoli. Now, this is a driver who's been out of karting for, my information tells me, 24 years. We've not seen Nico in a competitive karting sense, but what I love about this is it's not just another one of those stories that we've seen over the years of a driver getting back into a kart and having some fun out there. This is a dad and lad effort. I spoke to Nico earlier, and he was telling me how the reason for coming back in, he's 39 years of age, was not just because he's got a bit of time in life to have a go and see how one of these KZ2s goes, but also his dad is of an age that he can still be on the spanners, still be taking part in it, like they used to back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. I think that's a fantastic thing to see for this kart. And the aim for this one is to not finish last. It's the straight answer that Nico gave me earlier. So yeah, building up the speed across the course of the weekend. We'll see how they get on. But yeah, keep an eye on these Rush Performance cars. As I say, no longer in the red, black and yellow of Maranello, now with the IPK brand of Formula K. Intrigued to see how they get on across the course of the season as they learn what this new chassis is about. We should also note another change in this awning, another IPK runner in the Praga brand, is that João Castro, the Brazilian driver, has moved from juniors. We saw João in the junior category at Wilton Mill for O-Plate, has now taken a step up to seniors, so that's a big old step for João. We'll see how he gets on. Right, this is the point where we wrap things up for this very first part here in the West Paddock. We're going to do one of those classics James Fitzhugh cuts from the top to the bottom. Hang on a minute, this is wrong. I said we needed to be at the bottom of the paddock, and we're not at the bottom of the paddock. We're at the top of Warden Law's brand new balcony over the circuit. We'll actually take a little bit of a moment, because we like to do this on these build-up shows. Give you an insight into what the teams, the mechanics, what they're looking at. And I know it may sound very, very simple. Oh, it's a new balcony, it's nice to stand on it. At least it was last weekend when it was a bit warmer than this. But this gives another new vantage point for the drivers and the teams to see what's going on out on circuit. So we've got the seniors out right now, and you can see everyone looking at live timing, everyone checking out how their drivers are getting on across the course of, at this point on Friday, these practice sessions. The speed that the drivers are carrying down this straight. It's not the longest straight, this pit straight here at Warden Law, but getting the gearing so important right round here to get that run out of Paddock Corner. Give yourself the acceleration, because essentially you get the last corner right here, you're going to carry the speed, as we see Harrison Morrow going down there in the Fullerton Class and Motorsport Prepared Machine. It's the speed that carries you through to Marshall Post 2, the far side there. We don't see a lot of overtakes through that part of the course, but you can see a few here and there, and of course you see a lot of overtaking into turn 1. We saw that last weekend with the Rotax and the Honda categories. So for a lot of the drivers, a lot of the teams, it looks simple on the map. It's just a pointed squirt corner out onto a straight, but a really crucial part of the circuit here on this pit straight. Other bits to note, we saw a little bit of this last week. We'll be talking about it with the KZ2s as well. When the drivers come out of St. John's here, so this right-hander, where we saw a little bit of drama in the younger categories last week, there's a little bit of a dip, just where you see that strip in the tarmac there before Marshall Post 4. Keep an eye on the KZ2s. Here in the Senior X30, the drivers just kind of take the standard racing line as you would for above. Morrow demonstrating that brilliantly again there for that late apex through sector number 1. But when we see speeds particularly high, you can see Morgan Moore, an example there, the rear axle just picking up off the ground. In a Senior X30, you can get away with that. You've got enough time and real estate into Senna 1 to deal with that. For the KZ2s, they are travelling so quickly that if they're losing the rear axle, they're no longer propelling themselves forward. So a couple of the drivers today telling me that they're actually keeping it tighter through St. John's to avoid as much as they can that little dip. Because again, the speed they're carrying, if they go straight over the top, get a little bit of air, they're immediately into their braking zone and just simply try to ask themselves and the kart to do too much too quickly. It's almost a little bit like when you see the Formula 1 cars going around Monte Carlo on the run down to Mirabeau Corner. You see them just move a little bit to the inside, to the middle of the circuit, to be able to keep themselves in full control and not have to deal with that rise over the bump, the reaction from the karts, all before they get to the next braking zone. So, a little interesting thing there to talk about the difference between the direct drive karts here, or the single gear karts for the X30s and the KZ2s when we get on later on this afternoon. Back down into the relative quiet of the main paddock. Let's have a little look in Fusion. They had a superb run, of course, at the O-Plate, particularly in the IAME Water Swift category. I'm expecting to see many of these blue and orange runners in the IAME Water Swift category being towards the front again. The eagle-eyed amongst you will also note that last time we didn't see Mackie Senior in the paddock. He has, quote by his younger brother, been sacked from the juniors and the seniors, but he's found a new place in the garage, mechanicking Daniel Ferguson. Let's bring Daniel in for a second. Daniel, one of our drivers who moved up from restricted last year into Water Swift this year. Pretty good season so far for you, Daniel.
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been quite good in Europe. Still a bit in England, but just learning, getting the kart right. Yeah.
And what's it like working with Lewis? Because Lewis, obviously, is a mechanic. We know his exploits from previous seasons. Is he giving you all the good facts and figures and advice?
Yeah, he's been really good. Helped so much so far.
How's practice been today? I was having a look at some of the practice times earlier. Again, a lot of you guys at the front. Excel Motorsport looking quick again so far this weekend.
First few practices hasn't been great, just finding more time, but the last practice seemed very good, so...
Good stuff. We'll catch you again later on in the weekend. I do want to have a quick chat with Ozzie Gibson, if I don't mind, because another interesting element of this weekend, we do have a few drivers. We'll get out of the doorway, Austin. You are one of several drivers who was here last weekend.
Yep.
You were in a different team, but you were on a shared chassis, of course, in terms of the technology. Do you feel you've got a bit of an advantage over the rest of the IAME Water Swift runners with the fact that, okay, different engine formula, but you've got the racing experience from this place less than 7 days ago?
Yeah, it's helped me know the track a bit more, but it's a bit different to drive. This is more smooth, that's more like you have to go in hard, and well, it's helped me a bit, yeah.
And for those watching at home who may look at, a Mini-Max and then look at an IAME Water Swift and to the relatively untrained eye will go, well, they look exactly the same, apart from the shades of blue and orange are a little bit different from last weekend. They're pretty much the same. But as a driver, what are the main things that you have to think about and go, okay, I'm back on an X30, I'm back on an IAME platform now, I've got to drive in this particular different way?
Yeah, well, race hacks, as soon as you come out the corner, you got to slowly feed on the throttle, which when I first got in, I floored it and wheel spinned everywhere. So now I've learned how to drive it like that. But in IAME, you don't have to feed it on; you just hit the gas out the corner. Yeah.
Good stuff. No, thanks for that insight, Austin. It's really good to see Alfie Davidson with us here as well. Alfie, we're just having a chat with Daniel, who of course you know very well from last year's Restrictor Championship. How's practice been for you today?
Well, in the first one, quite quick. In the second one, quite quick. And it started getting live timing. And I was P2 in the first one, P2 in the second one. And then I was kind of driving around on my own. Had a bit of chase and went P3 by 200ths off.
Now, I did notice, correct me if I'm completely wrong on this, because my eyes are getting old and sometimes I can't read properly. Were you in a session where it was more you versus the Excel guys and other guys and you didn't really have any teammates? To an extent.
Well, everyone would follow me out, so I would try roll and everyone would pass me that. I don't think so, no.
But the form of my question is, if you're in a group tomorrow with some more teammates, do you think you've got some more pace if you can get a bit of a slipstream going?
Yeah, hopefully I can push around with some fusion lot tomorrow and hopefully you can go P1 and quali.
Good stuff. Thanks for talking to us, Alfie. Just saw Riley Cranham sticking his head out. Should note, because we're not. Oh, sorry, as I'm nearly getting run over by one of the by Dylan Patel's 340. The usual contenders looking quick. Harrison Mackie looking quick was fastest in FP4, and was also looking pretty good earlier was Riley Cranham, our O-Plate winner, better than last week in the road tax categories. Now, there is also another interesting point that we should make. Now, I don't think they're in here at the moment, but we have had a move from Fusion into this awning here, Premium Karting. The number 2 seed, Freddie Lloyd, is now in this is in this awning, and my sources tell me that the reason is that Freddie wanted to stay with an OTK product. Obviously Fusion, similar to what we were talking about last weekend with Sam Pollitt Racing, they're now all on Kart Republics, performing very, very well, of course, with those Kart Republics. Freddie had some problems in the early stage of the season, wanted to go back to what he knew, wanted to go back to an OTK product, so on the entry list this weekend he's in a Cosmic and in Premium Karting. Not as quick though, as in fact there is the number 2 of Freddie Lloyd coming back in. Not as quick though as Morgan Moore. Morgan there, I think just winding down after a good day's work. Was one of the fastest drivers in the session earlier, so this could be a very good weekend for Morgan, particularly with changeable conditions. Morgan, FP3, I was having a little bit of watch of how you were getting on. There was a fine bit of drizzle in the air. I don't think it affected you too much, but some good pace out there today.
Yeah, no, it was decent. Getting to grips with it again. Warden haven't been here in a while. Yeah, just getting back to grips with the track felt good on the new tyre. So.
And what's it like? As I say, things have continue to grow in this awning as well. You were with them last year, of course, but the likes of Lloyd, Whitaker, Mothers, being in this one, is that a good thing in your book?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, obviously with the Argenti package with Premium and Fred, there's a Japanese driver here as well. Finley, it's great to see the team getting bigger. Obviously we're a small team relatively for the last few years, so it's great to see the 210s back up.
But punching above your weight again, as you and Marcus Luzio did for a lot of 2024, of course.
Yeah, it was. We're a small team, but obviously Moose, in my opinion, he's the best in the paddock. So I mean, we're very happy to be here. We've been here for my whole X30 career. So.
Good stuff. Thanks for talking to us, Morgan. Thank you very much for your time. How much time have we got? It is raining a little bit at the moment. I think this is going to be another one of the stories. Another quick sight there, very quickly, James. William Antrobus going into the Fusion awning. That's not just for him to have a little chat. We touched on it a little bit last weekend, that again, 2 teams, the opposite side of the different engine formulas in this championship, but both on KR chassis. Just the same as last weekend, we saw a few familiar Fusion faces in Sam Pollitt machinery, as just mind out there, James, as Harrison Morris 372 comes through. Yes, you will see some more what we call Sam Pollitt faces racing with Fusion this weekend. William Antrobus being a very good example of that. Excel Motorsport will have a little bit of a chat about. They've got another very strong crop of drivers in some of the younger categories. Quick update on how they got on earlier today. So we have a look at some of the MDLs as well. So a set of the seniors going out in the not too distant future. But quick note on Excel, LBJ Stubbs in the IAME Water Swift Restricted category, looking quick again, our O-Plate winner. Also looking quick out there, as my notes have had a bit of a wobble. There they are. Very good in the inters for the stewards, Johnston and Andy Stewart. Both seem to have got a real turn of pace here this weekend, so keep an eye out for them. George House going quickly again, as we saw back at O-Plate, as we've seen in Europe earlier on in the year, and Mason Brooks also in a positive step forward this weekend. I'm not sure we'll be able to break across. We will head back down the paddock as well, because I want to have a little bit of a chat with the KZ2s. Harrison, step across. It's all right. I won't interview you today. It was very quick earlier, of course, that we mentioned. TB Karts. Good to see some more brands in this paddock. TB Karts in there. Reece Newman and Harry Cottrell in their awning this weekend. In fact, you know what? There's a gap. I'm going for it. Let's have a chat with Reece, if that's okay. I like to see different brands. Obviously, it's one that I'm familiar with from the European scene, but TB Karts, tell them a little about them, what they like to drive.
So we've been on the TB Kart. We started on it last year. We switched over from the Fulham, which is like a barrel. Yeah. So pretty much the barrel's quite stiff kart. So we're struggling a bit with that, with me being just quite a skinny guy, so I struggled turning on the tyres. So we, tried a new chassis, and it's been working very well. It's very good everywhere, really. You can sort of just tune it really easily.
As I say, that's something I've seen on the European scene, that it is a good all-rounder. It always seems to be in and around the top 10 whenever we race with Euro Series. I think you were telling me earlier that you've had it about 4 months?
This particular chassis, about 3 months, yeah.
And going well this weekend? Yeah,
I mean, we're getting there. Few hiccups in the last one by me, so I need to collect myself a bit together. But, chassis there, if I get it all together, we're up there, I reckon.
Good stuff. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. But yeah, good to see some different colours in the paddock. I'm going to go on the search for a warm awning, not for myself, because I'm used to these conditions being from the north, but cameraman James, I think he's getting a bit chilly. Whilst we're on our way back up to what we're colloquially calling KZ2 land, as Lee Ward, O-Plate winner from a few weeks ago, heads on through, possibly to some scrutineering. Let's give it a little bit further of a rundown with the IAME categories and some news. Mick Barrett Racing, George Edgar looking good again this weekend, and is not the only J. Edgar in the paddock here at Warden Law. Who else we note? Evolve will go by in a moment. We've got some news on them. And then, the KZ2s that we'll discuss in a short moment's time. So we'll get on these up. We'll start moving towards the KZ2 land, because it is great to have KZ2 back again this weekend. We of course started their 2024 journey with the Wera Tools British Kart Championships here at Warden Law last season. Was a little bit later in the year though, so yes, it's familiar ground for them in terms of a season opener, but being in April, Easter weekend, bit of drizzle in the air, that is all things that the KZ drivers need to think about. Before we move on to KZ, I am going to have a quick look into Evolve. Easy to forget that this is still a very new team. This is still in its first 2 years of being active, but again, keep an eye on Evolve this weekend. Ollie West was looking pretty quick earlier on today, third in FP3 for Ollie West, and we saw Luca Narroway have a good turn of speed a few weeks ago at the O-Plate night measures. Bit unlucky at times at O-Plate, but yeah, keep a weathered eye in these stormy conditions. Oscar Kenny in here as well. Callum Gray. Good to see Callum Graham's kart back. Also, we didn't have the 111 back at O-Plate. It's not the biggest of teams, but there are some very, very strong drivers in this awning, including Oscar Kenny, who's arrived just on time. Oscar, we were just discussing Evolve Motorsport and how they're continuing to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Strong day for you?
Yeah, it's not been bad. We did struggle about halfway through the day, but we tried to get it back, and we found a bit of time.
And also, you changed teams as well. Have you found yourself almost? You feel at home here in the Evolve awning?
Yeah, it's not bad in here. I think it's a bit better.
And the rain's starting to come down a little bit. Is that a concern ahead of the weekend, that it's going to be a bit tricky with getting the tyre choices right?
I think it'll be tricky, but I think when we get the choices right, we'll be fast.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for talking to us, Oscar. We'll see you again tomorrow for those qualifying sessions. Should remind you as well, if you've not heard the news as well, with this being IAME's this weekend, for the IAME categories, it's a double header. Tomorrow, round 1 of the championship. Sunday, rinse and repeat for round 2. And again, we touched on this last year. It's a hard weekend. There's a lot of racing, and you get to the end of it and you go, that was a bit of a marathon. But the drivers do like it in some ways, because if they have a bad day on Saturday, which, you know, it's motorsport, it's racing, that can happen. You get the chance to reset and go again on the Sunday. So yeah, some good opportunities for everybody to get good points on the board. Have we got anyone in daily motorsport? Yeah, we've got a few of their runners in here for the IAME Water Swift categories. We'll have a chat with the guys. How's practice gone today?
Not very good.
Why not?
It's my first time here and learning the track, so it's hard. It's a hard track too.
So what in particular is hard about it? Is it the complex of corners? It's not a circuit where you get much rest, is it?
It's like all the tight corners and continuous, which is hard to figure out.
And considering we had a lot of running here last weekend as well, is that made the grip levels a touch unpredictable, or has that changed as the day's gone on?
I think it changes as the day goes through and more rubber gets laid down, which is good, and it gets quicker through the day.
We were just having a discussion about the format as well, and it being 2 different rounds. Is that one that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think we've never done it in Ireland, but I think it'll be good here. It's better, more testing and laps.
And particularly as a driver who's new to this place as well, does that give you almost a bit of confidence that, okay, we find some stuff out on Saturday and then we can bounce back again on Sunday?
Yeah, like if I have a bad day on Saturday, it won't cost me my day on Sunday, which is good. I like that.
Good stuff. Well, we'll see how the team gets on tomorrow, of course, when we get into all of those races, which you can watch on your Alpha Live and Karting UK platform of channels. The KZs, I think, in fact, have we got KZs out on circuit at the moment? We might just have a little bit of a run through. Yes, we've got KZ2s out on circuit. How do you make a good Friday a great Friday? You get to some KZ2s. The reason why the number 5 was in the pits there is Miles Murphy is engaged with stag do's, extracurricular activities, so we won't see him today, but we will see all of these drivers. This is what it's about. We haven't had the longest to wait for them. Obviously, we finished the season in 2024 with the KZs, but this is proper. They're all on slicks. It's a little bit wet out there. It's a bit greasy. It's not wet enough for a wet tyre yet, but this is a real test of a driver's skills, and I think we're going to have a full weekend of this. There's Derek Morgan going through in the number 6 machine, looking to improve on his seeding from last year. There's one of those IPKs that we were talking about, the Formula Ks for Charlie Turner. But we'll just have a look here. This is Jessica Edgar getting through the final corner. Of course, she's had a run in F1 Academy. Is back here this weekend with the Jade Racing team. Has got Ella Stevens for company as well in that awning. We'll just have a look at how our reigning champion Josh Price is doing, coming on through the horseshoe. Can see how much he's having to correct things and almost tippy-toe around this circuit. Wait to get on the power, then away he goes. About 30 gear changes is what I'm being told is what we will see from the teams, from the drivers this weekend. Ella Stevens, we should mention as well, had a chat with her earlier, 3rd in the championship last year, won the E-plate as well at Shennington and the English Open Championship. So yes, it's not the biggest of grids. I would love to see more KZ2s on this grid. I think the drivers as well would love to have more KZ2s on the grid. But it's a competitive grid. Talking to Josh Price earlier, he reckoned there's probably 5 or 6 drivers with a very, very good chance of winning here this weekend, and I tend to agree with him. The Jade Racing team have looked very quick earlier on today. Ella Stevens, as mentioned, was first of a 1-2 for them, because we should of course mention he's just whisked past us. Great to have Ollie Stewart back in the awning. For those not aware, Ollie was part of a very, very unfortunate road traffic accident midway through 2024, which involved his mum as well. They have been through a really, really tough 6 to 9 months. I spoke to Ollie earlier. You know, there were questions of would we ever see Ollie Stewart back in a race kart ever again? And the answer this weekend is simply yes. And Ollie's back with pace. So what a story it would be for Ollie Stewart there in the number 22. If we could see Stewart on the podium. Now, yes, when a driver comes back from a bit of time away and out of the kart, particularly when they've come back from fractures and broken bones, it's the longer races that sometimes can be really, really tough. So yes, single lap pace is looking good at the moment for Ollie Stewart. We'll wait and see. We'll hope and see later into those finals. But just see here as well, we were touching on it earlier, about the different lines for the KZ2s. Very good look that we've stumbled across this at this moment. So we'll see Ella Stevens here, and you can just see that little bit of gap in tarmac to drivers right round Marshall Post 4. The drivers are just stepping in. They're not stepping in massively. They're stepping in probably at most a kart's width, just to avoid the bump going over the top there, making sure they remain settled, as Ollie Stewart nearly has a big one there coming out of the final corner. That just shows you there. You didn't quite see that, but what happened there as Ella Stevens comes out of the final corner? Ollie Stewart just got his left-hand side tyres in the divot here to, as you can see at the right-hand side, caught that little berm there. And yeah, it just shows again how on the edge these KZ2 drivers are. It's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys and girls this weekend. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. I know Pierce Pryor's thoroughly looking forward to it as well in the comms box with me this weekend. I know everyone at home will be looking for some good races. Now, we won't see these guys in racing action on Saturday, I should just state. We'll have to unfortunately wait till Sunday when we'll have their qualifying heats and then their final. We will still be talking about KZ2 tomorrow. We've got some interviews with some of the drivers that we filmed earlier on today, getting their thoughts on how they're feeling ahead of this brand new season. But as the calm starts to fall now, the checkered flag out for KZ2, we will probably wrap things up there for the build-up show. It's been a frantic build-up show. You can join us, of course, tomorrow morning with all of the heats and the finals. It's a full round for the IAME categories tomorrow here at Warden Law. Do hope you can be with us, and if you've enjoyed the build-up show, do make sure that you give it a share, give it a like, give it a subscribe as well here on the Karting UK channel. We'll see you all bright and early tomorrow morning here from Warden Law for round 1 of the IAME classes in this year's Wera Tools British Kart Championships.